I know that Africans will become so mentally enslaved, but must the West shove it down our throat? Now, today I'm going to talk about Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj represented Christians at the United Nations
to shine a spotlight on the deadly threat faced by thousands of Christians in Nigeria. I would like to thank President Trump for prioritizing this issue and for his leadership on the global stage.
For those that don't have any idea of what's happening, let me just give a bit of context. Yes, in recent times, I think less than a month, the President of America, Donald Trump, designated Nigeria as a country of particular interest. This is because, in his own opinion, he's saying that the Nigerian Christians are being persecuted and he wants to do something about it. So since then, Nigeria has been on the news talking about Nigerian Christians and all that. Yes, so I'm speaking as a Nigerian Christian, but I'm not the most qualified of Nigerian Christians, really. There's a lot I need to do. I'm not qualified. So having someone like Nicki Minaj going to the United Nations to talk about Nigerian Christians and how they are persecuted, it's kind of weird. First of all, if it had to be an American, you know, sometimes if somebody is feeding you, they can really impose what they want. That's it. Let's face it, Africa, we have become slaves to the Western nations, to the West practically. If it's not the West, it's China. If it's not China dictating what happens in Africa, is America. So we really don't have any choice. But okay, if they had to choose an American, what happened to someone like Don Muen? Or what happened to people like what they call the CC Winans? I mean, they would have called a Christian musician to talk about what's happening to Christians. And they chose, out of all the musicians, you know, she called herself a New Yorker. That means she has no real roots with Nigeria. She called herself a New Yorker. A New Yorker was called to represent Nigerian Christians at the United Nations. Now, what is going on? Now, Nicki Minaj, I know her. Of course, she's such a big musician. Whether or not you listen to secular music as a Christian, you must one way or the other must know about her. So I know about Nicki Minaj, but I can't tell you there's any song of hers that I know. Maybe when I hear them playing it, when it's being played, I'll know that she's the person. But Nicki, my issue is that if they had to choose somebody to come and talk, because I was trying to figure out how she was related to the situation. I was trying to see maybe she was sponsoring one Christian charity in Nigeria or something, or I wanted to see her affiliation with Nigeria. I found little or nothing. What they said in a report I watched on Channels News, they said that the advisor to Donald Trump described her as a principled person. And now I don't know what yardstick he used to measure to now come out and say that Nicki Minaj is a principled person. But the Christian religion, you have to be very, very careful. If, for example, they call someone like me to represent the Christian religion, I don't think I'm qualified. You know, there are people, even they would have called somebody, a musician like Nathaniel Bassey, like Moses Bliss, and some other Christian musicians. The United Nations could have called those people. Why is it that they decided, out of all the musicians they could call in America to talk about Christians being persecuted, at the end of the day, it was Nicki Minaj? I don't have anything against Nicki Minaj. She's a secular musician and she's not pretending to be otherwise. So for people that follow her and people that listen to her music, they know what they are getting. But I do not understand why she was the one made to represent. We have to be very careful because young people are watching. If, for example, they are talking about Nicki Minaj going to the United Nations to talk about how Nigerian Christians are being persecuted, people that watch the video will assume that, oh, she has Christian principles. Children that watch that video may now want to even know more about her, and they'll now go to her social media pages and they'll see some things that are not appropriate. She doesn't sing songs that are appropriate for young people. She doesn't, so even she doesn't do things that are appropriate for young people. There are some musicians that they are not necessarily Christian, but at least they're kind of mild when it comes to the explicit things. But Nicki Minaj is not that kind of person. And I know she's going through a process. We've all gone through a process. At her age, I probably was as adventurous as she presently is. So I'm not saying that. Of course, she's evolving, and I hope and I pray that she will turn out to be something useful. But for her representing, I mean, it's an insult. Who did they even confer on? For example, the United Nations, you want to do something like that. Who did you ask? Did you involve Nigerians? Or as usual, they just believe that whatever they give us, it's like taking the crumbs. Whatever crumbs they give Africa, we should be too happy to accept. Whatever they suggest to Africa, we should be too happy to accept. And I don't even blame them, because most African leaders are a disgrace. That's the truth. Most presidents in African countries are a disgrace. They are not doing well. They are an embarrassment. For example, somebody like Paul Biya, someone that has been in power, the president of Cameroon, he has been in power for so many years, and he's still there. He says it's a democracy. He's been there for at least 40 years plus. He's been the president, and is he the most qualified person? Why is he there? Why is it that people cannot, it's like he's the one there, you cannot really, you have elections, and elections are just funny. It's just like a formality. They know at the end of the day, this is the person going to win. Nigeria, I'm not saying Nigeria is even better, of that much, is even in a better place, because as we know, the 2023 elections, there were so many accusations, even INEC, when they were giving assessment, people that were talking, many people they're talking about electoral reforms, because the elections so far, I'm not even talking about only 2023, for many years, the elections we have, they are usually flawed, they are usually with a lot of questions. And ironically, it was that same election where the president of Nigeria was elected, hopefully, that Biden, the president of America, immediately he got elected, Biden immediately endorsed him without even, there were people that were not happy. Okay, if you wanted to even call somebody to go to the United Nations, what happened to Chimamanda Adichie? Chimamanda Adichie, for crying out loud, she lives in America. She's a Nigerian. She's known all over the world, and she identifies, I think, as a Christian. I don't know if she's no longer a Christian, but she identifies as a Christian. What happened to Chimamanda Adichie? So I don't know who they conferred. I don't know how the discussions that went behind that they had to choose Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj, she's a good person. When I say she's a good person, is that there's nobody that is inherently evil. We all have our good and bad parts. So she has a good part, but I don't think she's a role model, especially because children, I'm very particular about young people. When young people see Nicki Minaj standing at the United Nations talking on behalf of Nigerian Christians, it will now look as if her lifestyle is like they're giving an endorsement to her lifestyle at the United Nations. I don't really understand. Is it that they don't have officials that know Nigerians, or at least you can go on Google and just Google Nigerian Christian musicians, popular Nigerian Christian musicians. Names will pop out. So you call, and the average Nigerian Christian musician will be delighted, will be excited to be invited by United Nations. You could even have Nigerians in the diaspora. There are many Nigerians in America, and I'm sure there are many musicians there. Davido, for example, he lives in Nigeria, but I think he has dual citizenship. He would have been a good choice, I believe, to go to United Nations. What was the criteria to choose Nicki Minaj? Maybe they feel like, oh, our accent is not good enough, our Nigerian accent. I really don't understand. Why do you think they chose Nicki Minaj? Do you think I'm making such a fuss? It's not a big deal. Please put it in comments, and I would like to know what you guys think. But for me, I don't think it was a very good choice. And because this issue of Nigerian Christians is not, we shouldn't politicize this. This thing has been happening for a while. And when governments, they entrench bad government, for there to be peace in Nigeria or any other country, you need leaders that are responsible. Even if Donald Trump makes an intervention, he'll still go back, and we are left with our leaders. Nobody's saying Donald Trump is perfect, but let's say he even comes and he intervenes, we'll still be left with our leaders. So democracy for now is the most, at least for now, in Nigeria. Even though Ibrahim Traore is doing so well in Burkina Faso, it's not a democracy, but so far he's doing so well. But for now, for Nigeria, because of the multi-ethnic groups and all the other intertribal things we have, I think for now, democracy is the best. So if these Western governments in the West, they keep on supporting leaders that are not responsible, leaders that people, as we speak, there's a Nigerian journalist, David Hundeyin, that has accused the Nigerian president of being involved in some kind of very shady activities in America. And this was the same man that was immediately endorsed by Joe Biden. And the Nigerian journalist said he wanted to get some information, and he wanted the support of an American intelligence agency so that he would pursue the case further on what he said about the Nigerian president involved in some shady deals in America. It's an allegation by David Hundeyin. He said he was not given the support he needed by the same America. So if America, they are really interested in making sure that Nigerian Christians are safe, why is it that it looks like, in a way,